Tiger King Joe Exotic rants after Chrisley pardon, says, "Left to die." Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another video. I hope everyone's having a great day. Before watching the video, please subscribe and like it. News broke Tuesday that Todd and Julie Chrisley, President Trump granted them a full pardon. The pardon is expected to take place on Wednesday. There is one person who is not excited by the news, and that is Tiger King Joe Exotic. He immediately went on a social media rant after learning of the pardon. What did he say? Keep reading to get the scoop. Joe Exotic, the flamboyant star of Netflix's hit docuseries Tiger King, is once again making headlines. But this time it's not for his infamous feud with Carole Baskin or his wild antics involving big cats. Instead, the imprisoned former zookeeper is expressing deep frustration after fellow reality TV personality Todd Chrisley received a commutation of his sentence from President Biden. In a fiery statement, Joe Exotic claimed he has been forgotten and unfairly left behind, saying he's being left to die in federal prison. The news of Chrisley's sentence being commuted arrived last week, sparking a wave of online reactions from fans and critics alike. Todd Chrisley, known for starring in Chrisley Knows Best, had been serving time for financial crimes including tax evasion and fraud. While the exact reasoning behind the presidential action hasn't been fully explained publicly, it reportedly stemmed from advocacy around the conditions of his confinement and his expressions of remorse. Joe Exotic, whose real name is Joseph Maldonado Passage, remains incarcerated after being convicted on multiple counts including animal abuse and a murder-for-hire plot against his longtime rival, Carole Baskin. Despite his high-profile case and consistent claims of innocence, his numerous pleas for clemency, first under President Trump and later under President Biden, have been denied or ignored. He has long argued that he was the target of a corrupt investigation and trial, claiming the charges against him were exaggerated and politically motivated. In a post shared through his legal team and on his social media accounts, Joe Exotic lashed out over what he views as a double standard in the justice system. He accused the government of playing favorites based on race, status, and money. In his words, "I'm being left to die here, while others who did far worse walk free." The message struck a chord with his loyal fan base, many of whom have continued to advocate for his release through petitions, online campaigns, and social media support. Joe's team also emphasized his declining health. The 61-year-old has been diagnosed with prostate cancer and has repeatedly complained about inadequate medical treatment in prison. He has alleged that prison authorities are deliberately neglecting his condition, allowing his health to deteriorate. According to those close to him, his condition has worsened significantly over the past year, and he has lost faith that the government between Chrisley's release and Joe Exotic's continued imprisonment has reignited debates about fairness and transparency in presidential pardons. Critics argue that the pardon process lacks clear criteria and often appears arbitrary. Advocates for prison reform point out that thousands of nonviolent offenders are serving long sentences without hope of clemency, even as high-profile celebrities with access to legal teams and media exposure receive special treatment. Joe Exotic has been a polarizing figure since he was first introduced to global audiences in Tiger King at the start of the pandemic. The show portrayed him as a complicated, larger-than-life character with a wild personal life, questionable business practices, and an intense rivalry with Carole Baskin that escalated into threats and ultimately his criminal conviction. While some viewers saw him as a tragic anti-hero, others condemned his actions and the treatment of animals under his care. His attempts to secure a pardon have often leaned heavily on his fame and public persona. During President Trump's administration, Joe's legal team even prepared a limousine and made headlines with outlandish tactics aimed at catching Trump's attention. Though a pardon never materialized, the effort kept his name in the public eye. With the release of Chrisley, Joe has renewed calls for the current administration to reevaluate his case, arguing that justice is being selectively applied. For now, Joe Exotic remains behind bars in a federal prison facility in North Carolina, where he is serving a 22-year sentence. He insists that he is the victim of a conspiracy and has maintained his innocence regarding the murder-for-hire plot. His supporters continue to circulate petitions and pressure elected officials, hoping to revive his clemency efforts. In the meantime, Joe's outrage has reignited public interest in his story, ensuring that, for better or worse, the Tiger King remains a controversial figure in America's cultural landscape. As the political and legal tides continue to shift, only time will tell if Joe Exotic's cries for freedom will finally be heard, or if he will remain behind bars, railing against a system he believes has abandoned him. Tiger King Joe Exotic upset over Chrisley pardon. It didn't take long for Tiger King star Joe Exotic, whose real name is Joseph Maldonado Passage, to share his thoughts about President Trump giving the Chrisleys a full pardon. Todd and Julie Chrisley have been serving prison terms for tax evasion, bank and wire fraud, and conspiracy in 2019. Combined, they were serving 19 years in prison. Julie received 7 years while Todd would do 12. Their daughter, Savannah, has been fighting for their release since they were convicted and reported to serve their prison terms in 2023. Now, she's ecstatic that President Trump has seen the truth and is giving her parents a full pardon. As for Joe Exotic, he is serving a prison term of 21 years after being found guilty of a murder-for-hire plot against Carole Baskin. Those who watched the series on Netflix know the Tiger King did not like her at all. Since being put in prison, Joe continues fighting for his release. He has been begging the White House to give him a pardon, saying he's innocent of the crime. He's been ignored. Now, he's ranting about the Chrisleys' pardon. He went to social media to say, "I have never been more disappointed in my life that President Trump is pardoning all of these people that have actually committed crimes, and yet the president leaves me in here as an innocent man." Joe Exotic continued his rant, saying, "I guess being innocent is not enough in America." He says that he's been left to die with cancer in prison before he can get widely as the Tiger King is once again speaking out from prison, this time expressing outrage after reality TV star Todd Chrisley received a presidential pardon. Joe Exotic, who gained international fame from the Netflix docuseries Tiger King, remains behind bars, while Chrisley recently had his sentence commuted by President Joe Biden, a move that has sparked frustration and disappointment from the former zookeeper. Todd Chrisley, star of the reality show Chrisley Knows Best, was convicted of financial crimes including tax evasion and bank fraud, and was serving time in federal prison before receiving clemency. Joe Exotic, whose real name is Joseph Maldonado Passage, is currently serving a 22-year sentence for multiple charges including animal abuse and a murder-for-hire plot targeting his longtime rival Carole Baskin. Following news of the pardon, Joe Exotic released a statement through his legal team claiming that he has been abandoned by the justice system and unfairly overlooked. Despite his famed public support and repeated pleas for clemency, he accused the government of favoritism and suggested that political connections and status played a role in Chrisley's release. In his words, he said he is being left to die, while others go free, insisting that his case deserves a second look. He also pointed to his ongoing health struggles, including a cancer diagnosis, and claimed he is not receiving proper medical treatment. While incarcerated, Joe Exotic believes the system is ignoring him due to bias and lack of influence. His frustration comes after years of campaigning for a pardon under both the Trump and Biden administrations. His legal team had previously launched a high-profile campaign during Trump's presidency, including a stretched limousine that waited outside the prison in anticipation of a last-minute pardon which never came. The contrast between Chrisley's successful clemency effort and Exotic's continued imprisonment has revived debates around who receives pardons and why critics argue that celebrity status alone is not enough, and that the process lacks transparency and consistency. Supporters of Joe Exotic say his sentence was excessive and believe his prosecution was driven by personal vendettas and sensationalism. Meanwhile, federal officials have made no indication that a review of Joe Exotic's case is underway. Despite this, his team continues to advocate for a new trial or reduced sentence, pointing to alleged misconduct during his trial and what they describe as unreliable testimony and lack of evidence for some charges. Joe Exotic remains a divisive figure, admired by fans for his eccentric personality and condemned by critics for his treatment of animals and reckless behavior. With renewed attention on prison reform and presidential pardons, his case is once again back in the spotlight, though whether it will lead to any change remains uncertain. His partner deported from the United States. Tiger King Joe Exotic married a fellow inmate, George Marquez Flores, in October 2024. He revealed in early March that his husband was being deported just 2 days before his birthday. Flores had been serving time in prison for being in the United States illegally. According to Joe, he has no other crimes attached to his name. Flores was deported back to Mexico. He admits to bawling his eyes out when George was taken away. Their goodbye to one another was reportedly very emotional. Joe Exotic has voiced that when he is finally granted a pardon, he wants to get a gold card that President Trump spoke of shortly after taking office. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.